Is now the right time for Wyatt Sicks vs MFT? Two unstoppable factions just went face-to-face on SmackDown, and the wrestling world is divided on whether this is brilliant timing or a massive mistake. The Wyatt Sicks and MFT are finally about to collide after months of circling each other like apex predators waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But here's the question that has everyone debating. Is this the right time for this feud, or is WWE about to sacrifice one red-hot faction at the altar of the other? Welcome back to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, and today we're breaking down why the Wyatt Sicks vs MFT feud is both the best and worst decision WWE could make right now. Yeah, it's complicated, but that's what makes it interesting. Let's set the stage for what went down on the October 10th episode of SmackDown, because it wasn't just one moment, it was a series of events that built to this inevitable confrontation. First, Tama Tonga made his return after being out since late April. That's almost 6 months. Half a year. And he didn't just show up with a smile and a wave. He attacked Shinsuke Nakamura in the middle of his United States Championship match against Sami Zayn, which is exactly the kind of chaos you'd expect from MFT. Then the rest of the faction descended on Sami and beat him down because when MFT shows up, nobody is safe. But that was just the appetizer. The main course came later in the night when the Wyatt Sicks successfully defended their WWE Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy retained their titles, and as they were celebrating in the ring, soaking in that victory, MFT showed up. Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Tama Tonga, now with new face paint channeling their Gorillas of Destiny roots from NJPW, just appeared. And they didn't attack. They didn't jump the Wyatt Sicks from behind. They just stood there face to face staring each other down. That's how you set up a feud. That's how you create anticipation. That's how you make everyone watching go, oh, this is happening and it's going to be insane. So now we have two of SmackDown's biggest, most dominant, most unpredictable factions on a collision course. And the question everyone is asking is this the right time? And here's where it gets tricky because there are compelling arguments on both sides. Let's start with why this is absolutely the perfect time for this feud to happen, because there's one undeniable factor that makes right now the ideal moment. Everyone is healthy. Let's talk about the injury situation, because both of these factions have been plagued by health issues over the past year. Bo Dallas, the Uncle Howdy character that leads the Wyatt Sicks, was out for months. He got injured late last year and didn't return until late May. That absence kept the entire faction off television for way longer than anyone wanted. The Wyatt Sicks were one of the most anticipated returns in WWE, and injuries delayed that comeback. Then there's Tama Tonga, who's been out since late April until his return on this episode of SmackDown. For almost half the year, both factions have been operating at less than full strength or not operating at all. And here's the reality of professional wrestling. Injuries are unpredictable. You can't plan for them. A wrestler can be perfectly fine one day and then take one bad bump and be out for months. It happens all the time. It's the nature of the business. So when you have a window where both factions are completely healthy, where all 4 men in each group are cleared to compete, where everyone is ready to go, you have to take advantage of that window. Because it might not last. Someone could get hurt next week. Someone could tweak something in a random match. The opportunity to do this feud with everyone at full strength might not come around again for months, or it might never come around again. WWE has had to postpone or completely scrap feuds in the past because of injuries. Plans get derailed. Momentum gets lost. Fans get disappointed. So from a purely practical standpoint, doing the Wyatt Sicks vs MFT feud right now makes perfect sense. Everyone is healthy. Everyone can wrestle. Everyone can contribute to the matches and the storylines. That's not a small thing. That's actually a huge thing. And it's a big reason why this is the right time to pull the trigger on this feud. Plus, there's the storytelling aspect. Both factions have been rebuilding after those injury setbacks. The Wyatt Sicks came back strong in May and have been unstoppable ever since. MFT is finally back at full strength with Tama's return and they're showcasing a new look and renewed intensity. Having them collide now, when both are rising, when both are making statements, when both are reminding everyone why they're forces to be reckoned with, that creates the kind of clash that feels massive. It feels important. It feels like the immovable object meeting the unstoppable force. That's the kind of feud that gets people invested. But now let's flip the script and talk about why this might actually be terrible timing. Because there's a very real problem with having two red-hot factions feud right now. One of them is going to lose. And that loss is going to hurt. The Wyatt Sicks have been absolutely dominant since their return. Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy have been WWE Tag Team Champions since July. That's months of championship reign. They've defended those belts multiple times against quality competition, and they've done it in convincing fashion. Their chemistry is off the charts. Their communication in the ring is seamless. They feel like legitimate champions who deserve to be holding those titles. They've had a great summer building momentum, building credibility, building the kind of mystique that makes the Wyatt Sicks feel special. On the other side, you have MFT finally operating at full strength for the first time in forever. Tama Tonga is back. The faction is whole. They're sporting new face paint that pays homage to their legendary run as the Gorillas of Destiny in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They came out on SmackDown and immediately made an impact by attacking multiple people and standing toe-to-toe with the tag team champions. They look like $1,000,000. They feel like a faction that's about to run roughshod over the entire roster. They're hot. They're dangerous. They're ready to prove they're the most dominant group on SmackDown. So here's the problem. When two factions that are both this hot, both this protected, both this important to their respective brands collide, someone has to lose. And that loss is going to cool off one of these groups at the exact moment when both of them need to stay hot. Either the Wyatt Sicks are going to lose, which would put a dent in their championship reign and the momentum they've been building all summer. Or MFT is going to lose, which would make Tama's triumphant return feel less impactful and undercut all the hype around this newly complete faction. This is the classic wrestling booker's dilemma. You've got two acts that are both over, both doing great, both capable of being main event level attractions. And you want to put them together because the match quality will be incredible and the story will be compelling. But you also know that one of them has to take the loss, and that loss is going to damage them to some degree. It's the nature of competition. Somebody wins, somebody loses. And in this case, no matter who loses, it feels like a waste of momentum that could have been used elsewhere.